not 10 minutes at all. This is our
2 2-minute normally, yeah.
Our 2-minute training tips.
Talking. Let's talk tips.
Let's talk tips. Let's talk dog training tips. Let's talk about dogs generally. Yeah, look, she's been so
Just try
fun.
not to knock the camera over.
Yeah, don't knock the camera over. That wouldn't be good. We wouldn't be happy. Yeah. Talk about habits, actually, because this is a habit he's got.
Is it?
He rests his chin on me when I've got food and I've got treats in my hand at the moment. And if there's food around, he'll just rest his chin on my leg. Just so I notice.
Yes, he does that during lunchtimes, doesn't he?
He does.
When he's wanting a little bit of cheese or bread.
Yeah,
or
his favourite stuff.
Whatever's on the table.
Whatever's on the table. We had macaroni and cheese for tea last night, and oh my goodness, we got a lot of chin on leg stuff, didn't we? Hey? Because that's one of your favourites, isn't it, macaroni and cheese?
Absolutely. And there's one of
Not that we should encourage dogs to beg at tables.
No.
It's one of those choice things, you know. So many people talk about, you should never let a dog beg at a table. You shouldn't give dog human food. It's your choice.
Absolutely.
It's your choice. It doesn't matter to the dog. It doesn't matter to you. As long as you're not feeding your dog anything poisonous stuff wouldn't be good.
No. And there's a whole list of poisonous things that you can find on the internet.
There
all
are.
sorts of places.
Yeah. But principal ones for human food, chocolate.
Oh, shame.
I know.
But it's all right. We've got
Say that every time.
Got you some Easter chocolate.
But yeah, doggy chocolate's okay. You can have doggy chocolate. You're allowed that. But onions, people forget about onions and garlic.
And the whole onion family.
The whole onion family, yeah. Alliums, are they alliums? Is that right?
42.
Yeah, possibly. Whatever the onion family
do
is.
not know the
anyway,
answer to that
the
question.
onion family are all generally poisonous. Little bits of onion, you've got to be careful feeding dogs sort of stuff like lasagna and stew and bits like that because it has onion in it.
Chopped onion, yeah.
Just be careful.
You don't think about it because it's
garlic's an interesting one though, because garlic cloves are very poisonous. Yeah. But if you've got a little bit of garlic just as a taster thing in food, it's not too bad.
So something like, would garlic paste be okay then?
A little bit of garlic paste in something just to add as a flavour in a big meal. I wouldn't feed a dog garlic paste.
Oh, no.
But yeah, putting it in a food, that'd be fine. Bit of garlic powder in the food, no problem. Chopped up garlic clove in the food, no problem. But things like garlic bread, some garlic breads have a lot of just chopped garlic on them.
Right.
Just be careful with that sort of thing. There. But definitely not cloves of garlic. I wouldn't like to eat a clove of garlic anyway. Even to ward off. What do you ward off with garlic?
Vampires.
Vampires, yeah. Even to ward off vampires. We wouldn't want to eat cloves of garlic. That would be silly. What are the foods? So things like pips in things as well. Apple pips, the within the core of the apple, the actual pips have cyanide in things.
Peach pips as well.
The big stones in peaches and plums, avocados, they're all poisonous. But the flesh of the things is fine, so they can have peach flesh and apple flesh and
which you love.
Avocado.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever fed a dog avocado. I can't afford it for myself, but
the only thing she doesn't like is parsley.
Parsley. Yeah, she just about anything, don't you, Tippy? You're a bit more fussy. A bit more fussy, aren't you?
Good girl.
You'll eat some bits of stuff. What else is poisonous? That's about it for the main things that are poisonous. Then there's obviously stuff like loads and loads of plant things. But look them up. We've got lists on the website too. I think we've got a list of stuff. And if we haven't, we will put one up.
And any website worth its salt is going to have, anyone that's
very
got a list.
Easy to Google.
They're all going to be there.
Very easy to Google. Yeah.
And we were talking about habits, weren't we?
We were. We're going to talk about habits. Yeah, we got into food then. That's an extra one. Have an extra tip from us. Habits. Yeah. We'll get into habits. And I think because our dogs do nothing but watch us all day, because dogs can't read, they can't use their opposable thumbs to do craft like I do here. They're just, that's right in my face, Jimmy.
This is one of Tippy's habits.
It is. Jumping on people. But you can see out the window better there.
And then my habit is just to let it happen.
Yeah. Well, it's like me allowing Gus to put his chin on my knee at real times. It's a habit. I don't mind it. If you don't want those sort of habits, well, train your dog to do something else. You can always train your dog to just lie down quietly by the table. I can tell him to lie down, then he will, which is fine. Okay, so when it does annoy me, I just tell him to do that.
Good girl.
Or you can teach your dog to go to a mat while you're eating. So many things you can do. But habits. We all get into habits, and the chin on the knee is a habit. He started doing it. I rewarded him because as soon as the chin goes on the knee, I have to stroke him because.
And the more he gets rewarded, the more he does it. So it becomes
basic
a habit.
training stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, our dogs are watching us all the time. They're watching what we do, because it always makes me laugh when I think about my husband himself, for those that get my emails. And he has this habit. Well, we all have habits. We'll talk about all our habits in a minute, but he has this habit when he's going to take Gus for a walk. Gus always knows, and he never understands why Gus knows when he's going to take him for a walk. And the reason is that Gus has watched. Because we're creatures of habit, we always do things in the same way and in the same order. If you think about getting up in the morning, I always, once I've been to the loo, that's always the first thing, just most of the day, but that's another story. Once I've done that, then I always have to clean my teeth before I get dressed.
Right.
Other people get dressed and clean their teeth. It depends what your habit is, but we all have a habit around brushing our teeth and getting dressed, and we always do it in the same order. And if you ever get thrown from that by whatever reason, you forget to do things.
So coffee's first thing, and if I don't get my coffee, then the whole day just turns to pot.
Yeah, because we've just lost ourselves because we're not following our routine and our habit. So we all have habits, and going out for a walk with the dog is no different.
Yeah.
If you think about what you do, my habit is I put his harness on, and then I go and put my coat on, then I pick my car keys up, and finally I put my shoes and boots on. And that's my habit. That's the way I do it. So he knows that I go and pick the harness up, and that's the first thing. But with himself, Gus knows when he's going to take him out for a walk.
You figured him out a bit easier, haven't you?
You have, because I take him out for walks not as regularly. David always takes him out after breakfast. So after breakfast, what happens is the husband has been reading his paper on the iPad, and he turns the iPad off. And that turning the iPad off is the cue to Gus to know he's going out for a walk.
Because after he's turned the iPad off,
he goes, right then, is the next thing.
Right.
And that used to be the cue, but now it's everything goes backwards. Dogs will start off picking the harness up, picking the lead up. Obviously, it's a big cue, and dogs will pick that up. But then they learn what you do before that. Yeah. So for David, it's the right then before he actually stands up and walks towards the harness.
So pretty soon he's going to start reading his paper, and Gus is going to say, "Oh, it's almost time for my walk."
And that's exactly what he started to do at breakfast time now. While David's reading his paper on the iPad, he starts coming and pawing at his knee.
So
because he knows
is taking it further and further back.
Taking it further and further back. And that's what dogs do. They watch us and they pick up our habits, and that's why they seem sometimes to be completely telepathic. Don't you? You know what's going to happen.
Got better memory than me, that's for sure.
Yeah. But they have nothing else to do all day.
Yeah.
We're so distracted by everything else in life. But they don't really have anything to do when they're not out sniffing and things, except watch us and watch what goes on.
Yeah.
And that's why you get your dogs, people who say, oh, my dog always knows when I'm coming home. Because they've actually picked up some of the other cues that happen. It may be that, I don't know, they might recognise that the clock strikes 3 or 4 or something like that, and that's the cue.
That's almost time.
But they always they link things that happen in a certain order and in a certain way, and they pick up the earliest cue to it. So we used to, certainly had a dog that as soon as it was 4 o'clock, as soon as the clock chimed for 4, he would run to a window. Because the kids came home from school at 4:10.
4:10.
And you used to think, perhaps they can hear the bus coming. No, because he always did it way before. And we worked out it was the chime on the clock. Because that always happened a few minutes before the kids ran. Dogs pick these things up. Habits. Lots of habits.
Down dog training.